So hello Prajakta, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Fine. So today we are going to take up how the language changes. One example of how the language changes. And you will see
Yes.
it and the use of the word people. How teachers
Yes.
taught us when we were young and how the grammar books, the modern grammar books, how they use it. So the changing language and changing usage, and that can be only found in a living language. A living language always changes. That's called a living language, which always changes. The usage changes, the meanings will change, new words will come, some words will die out. So there's one example of a changing language, the use of people, right? So we'll
Yes.
share the video. Share the PowerPoint.
Yes.
Okay. So we have in older English, we use the word people only as a collective noun or as a group. People was used only as a collective noun, means only as a group. So
Correct. Yes.
you could not put a number before it. You could not say 3 people or 5 people. So if you wrote 5 people,
Right.
their teacher would insist that it should be 5 persons and not 5 people. You can't count. People is a collective noun. You can't count. So you could not say 5 people. The teacher would insist during our time that it should be 5 persons and not 5 people. That was older
Right.
English. So if you wrote 5 people, they
Yes.
would give it wrong. And if you say 5 persons, then they would give it correct. Right? That was the older English.
Okay.
So here we have some
Yes.
example. Now you explain this. You can see uh, what is a slide. So what we have written, just explain that.
Yes. Only phrases like the people of India or the peoples of India and Japan. Or some people think only this was allowed.
These
So,
phrases were allowed. Yeah, means people of India means
yes.
it is a group, collective noun, not 5 or 10 or 100, just
Yes.
as a nation.
Correct. We are not mentioning how many,
How many?
people.
And
So, yeah, we use the
also
word people.
peoples. As a plural, it was used when we mean two countries or two nations. Peoples of India and
Right.
Pakistan, peoples of India and Japan, always the two nations. Or some people think,
Right.
vague, you don't know. There's something like some people think it is undefined, indefinite. So we have here picture of people of India, people of Pakistan, people of Japan. So people of India and people of Japan, peoples plural of India and Japan. So you can see
Yes.
people of
Correct.
India in plural, peoples of India and Japan, peoples meaning two nations. And some people think in general. So these expressions
Right.
were only allowed. But you could not say 5 people or 6 people, right?
Right.
That was
It had to be undefined. It could be any number of,
it could be
but
any
it had to be a
number.
group,
It
but
had to be a
undefined.
group, yeah. Group and particularly a
Yes.
community or a society or a people or a nation.
Right.
Now that was
Yeah.
older English. Now next, what do we have now? This was see in older English. What is the thing? There were 5 people in the room, or 5 people were
Yeah.
hurt in the mishap.
Yes.
5 people were hurt in the accident. This sentence would be marked wrong in older English.
Correct. Because a number is mentioned,
5 persons would
even
be
if it is a
allowed.
group of people. Yes.
But if you're not defining the number, just some people or many people, then that was allowed. Many people
Right.
were hurt, that was allowed. 5 persons were, this sentence, 5 persons were hurt, but 5 people was not allowed. This expression was not allowed.
Yes.
So how many were
Yes.
killed? We have to say 5 persons, not 5 people.
Right.
Now, What about modern English? Yeah, projector. See.
Yes. So in modern English, people and persons are regarded as synonyms, and hence they are interchangeable. And so right now we can use both.
Exactly.
Both can be used as the plural of persons. So in today's day, we can use it anyhow. Like we can mention five persons or five people, as opposed to the older English, what was taught before.
So 5 persons or 5 people, some persons or some people, but it has to be plural.
Yes,
You
correct.
can't say one people. This is not allowed.
Right.
Since it is
Correct.
a plural, even if it is not a collective noun, it's a plural form. You can't say one people. One has to be followed
Yes.
by person, but 5, 6, 10, or some, a few, many, these can be followed by people or persons. Both are allowed. Some persons,
Yes, correct.
some people. 5 persons, 5 people. A few persons, a few. So these were allowed. Although a few people normally we don't say, but some people, many people, most people, most people
Yes, correct.
in Britain are non-veg. So some people, most people, these are allowed. But one people you can't say because people is plural. So it can be
Right.
used for persons, not for one person. It can be used for persons in
Correct.
plural. 5 persons, you can say 5 people, but one person, you can't say one people. It has to be used
Correct.
only in the plural sense.
Yes. Right.
So while persons can be replaced by people, but people cannot always be replaced by persons. Like people of a
Correct.
country, you can't say persons of a country. Wherever you have
Yes, yes.
persons, you can use people. But wherever you have people, you cannot replace with persons. People of a country, you cannot replace with persons of a country. Because in a people, the word people, it is a plural, but also it is a collective noun. It still has retains the original meaning of a collective noun. Persons is not a collective noun.
Yeah,
Persons is not
correct.
a collective noun. So you can't say persons of India. You have to say people of India.
Yes.
But when you have 5 persons, you can say 5 people, 10 persons, you can say 10 people, right? So Projekta, would you like to
Right.
sum up the whole thing? Just a brief summary.
Sure. So as we saw in older English, what we were taught, what Mr. Ayer's generation were taught was quite different. Over there, we could not use the word person, I mean people, for, sorry, I lost it.
As a plural for
One minute.
persons.
Yes.
You
We could
could
not use it as a plural. We had to use it for that specific amount of
a collective noun. You have to say
number, like,
a
yes,
group or a
collective.
collective noun as a group.
Yeah,
Now in modern English,
correct.
what we are saying, people is a plural of person. So wherever you are using
Yes.
persons, you can use people. 10
Yes.
persons,
So we
you
can
can
use
use.
both now, but only the only difference is that we cannot use one people because
One
people is a
people.
collective noun. We have to
People
use
is
it
a
for a
collective
group,
noun or people
not
is
a
a
single
plural.
person.
Yeah. People is either a collective noun or
Yes.
plural. Even if it is not a collective noun, it should be
Correct.
regarded as a plural at least. So one people you cannot use. You have to use it as a either as a collective noun or as a plural. 5 persons, 10 persons. Hmm. But you
Right.
cannot say one.
Yes.
Uh, 5 people you can say. 5 persons you can say 5 people. Some persons, some people. Most persons, most people. But one person you cannot say one
Yes.
people because people
Yes. Correct.
is either a collective noun or a plural. Either a
Right.
collective noun or a plural form.
Plural.
Plural form of person. So you have to use it only in place of plural persons, not one person.
Correct.
So that was our free online learning and stress-free learning from. Okay. So we will come back with more such videos and our projector will be there. And you use one term,
Absolutely.
you use one term, Mr. Iyer's generation. I felt that I'm growing old or what?
No, nothing like that.
No, your generation is something
Age,
new.
yeah, it's completely different. We just grew up learning things differently, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, there was actually one more thing I'll tell you that we had an interview for teachers, and the grammar the teacher was teaching an as an adjective. This is an apple, and as an adjective. So after the interview, I said, what you
Hmm.
are saying was correct according to old grammar, but in new grammar, this a and the, they are not regarded as adjectives; they are regarded as determinants. Now these are regarded as
Yes,
determinants, but in old grammar book, they are still regarded as adjectives. Articles are adjectives in old grammar, but in new
right.
grammar, articles are determinants. They are determinants, a separate
I
group.
see. I understand.
I think you have read
We
determinants.
have to constantly keep up with the changing syllabus
Changing.
and trends. It gets quite difficult sometimes, but it is worth it. We have to keep up.
Now, and CBSE follows that new pattern, a new grammar. So they regard the articles a and the these articles they regard as some, then each, every. These things they regard as
Hmm.
determinants, not as adjectives. But according to old grammar, the
Right.
articles were adjectives, and particularly they were called demonstrative adjectives. So, okay, Prajakta,
Right. I
thank
see.
you a lot for joining.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.